I want to read to you the ancient book of Nahum. It's one of the small prophets, one of the minor prophets. It's the 17th book in the Old Testament, and it is in regard to Nineveh. So this year, with the solar eclipse, it's actually going over America, producing the A of the Alef. And the Alef is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which is alphabet. And it means the head. It's the ox. It's the ruler. It's the one in charge, basically, the one that plows the field, the strong one. So it's just fitting that, God will not be mocked. And he is now going to start looking at taking control of things. I can see it happening. And every place across America has a resemblance of Nineveh. Have a look on the Awake New Zealand site. They're all listed there on the Telegram page. And you can see that the Lord is calling us to look at Nineveh again. Nineveh comes up in the Old Testament with the story of Jonah. It was the town of the man-eaters. It was the town that they did blood sacrifices of people, and they were known for it. They were feared. And Yah said to Noah, not to Noah, I beg your pardon, to Jonah, you need to go there and tell them to repent. And he was thinking, I'm not going there and telling them to repent because they won't believe me. In fact, they'll probably chop me up and put me in the pot. So we all know the story of Jonah. He went the other way. He went in the opposite direction. He got on a boat and was sailing somewhere else. And the Lord caused a storm to come. He was thrown overboard, lived 3 days, 3 nights in the belly of a whale, thinking he's dead, he's gone, his life is over. And then the whale spewed him out, and he went and did what the Lord said, and he walked down the main street of Nineveh and said to everybody to repent, because judgment is coming. And they did repent. And through my studies of the ancient texts, I've learned that Pharaoh of Egypt saw all the plagues. He saw the wrath of the Father being poured out because he would not release the Israelites. As Moshe had said, let my people go. And Pharaoh said, no, I'm not going to let them go. They're my slaves. And so consequently, these plagues came, and Pharaoh repented at the end. Some scriptures say that he died in the waters, and others say that he repented when you read the old books. And some of them say that he left because Egypt was ruined as such, and he went to Nineveh. And if that be so, you can only imagine the stories he would have told. And the fame of the Father went throughout the land regardless anyway. And people knew of these things that the Lord had done in Egypt to release the people and to be with them. He was the fire at night and the cloud during the day. He parted the waters. You can read all about it in the book of Exodus. It's a wonderful read at the beginning of the book. Anyway, Nineveh is representative of a place that is full of sacrificing people, of do what thou wilt, of the opposite to living a righteous life. And, we all know and are becoming aware and are learning about the depth of depravity and the depth of the satanic realm and hold over this world, from the simplicities of the birth certificate fraud, how we're all being traded on the stock exchange, through to tunnels and just what they are doing. There's so much evil, and it is coming to light. However, the Father knows everything, and he knows everyone. He knows every word every man has thought and spoken and done. And he will not be mocked. He won't. He won't. And I just felt this morning to read this and to read it to you after learning about how the A goes through all the little places in America that are representative or called Nineveh. So here we go. I'm reading from the Complete Jewish Bible, which has more of it's a better translation into Hebrew and Aramaic. And the book of Nachum or Nahum, depending on how you pronounce it. So chapter 1, there's only 3 chapters. Chapter 1. This is a prophecy about Nineveh, the book of the vision of Nahum the Eclipse. The Eclipse. Okay, Adonai, which is the Most High, is a jealous and revengeful God. And Adonai avenges. He knows how to be angry. Adonai takes vengeance on his foes and stores up wrath for his enemies. Adonai is slow to anger, but great in power. And he does not leave the guilty unpunished. Adonai's path is in the whirlwind and storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. He rebukes the sea and leaves it dry. He dries up all the rivers. Bashan and Carmel languish. The flower of the Lebanon withers. The mountains quake before him, and the hills dissolve. The earth collapses in his presence, the world and everyone living in it. Who can withstand his fury? Who can endure his fierce anger? His wrath is poured out like fire, the rocks broken to pieces before him. Adonai is good, a stronghold in times of trouble. He takes care of those who take refuge in him. But with an overwhelming flood, he will make an end of Nineveh's place, and darkness will pursue his enemies. What are you planning against Adonai? He is making an end of it. Trouble will not arise a second time. For like men drunk with liquor, they will be burned up like tangled thorns, like straw completely dry. Out of you, Nineveh, he came, one who plots evil against Adonai, who counsels wickedness. Here is what Adonai says. This is what the Most High says. Though they be many and strong, they will be cut down. They will pass. And though I have made you suffer, I will make you suffer no more. Now I will break his yoke from your necks and snap the chains that bind you. Adonai gave this order concerning you. You will have no descendants to bear your name. From the house of your God I will cut off. Carved image and cast metal image. I will prepare your grave because you are worthless. Look, on the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news, proclaiming shalom, which is proclaiming peace. Keep your festivals, Judah. Fulfill your vows, for Baal will never pass through you again. He has been completely destroyed. A destroyer has risen in front of your face. So guard the ramparts. Keep watch on the road. Brace yourselves. Marshal all your strength, for Adonai is restoring the pride of Jacob. along with the pride of Israel. And that's the people. It's not the land, it's the people. It's the 12 tribes of Jacob. Because plunders have plundered them and ravaged their vines. Isn't that true? You know, for America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Europe. It's so true. The shields of Nineveh's warriors are dyed red. The soldiers are wearing scarlet. The steel of their chariots flashes like fire as they prepare for battle. The cypress spears are poisoned, and the chariots rush madly about in the streets, jostling each other in the open places. Their appearance is like torches. They run here and there like lightning. The king of Nineveh assigns his officers, and they stumble as they march. They hurry to its wall and set up shields to protect the battering ram. The gates of the rivers are opened, and the palace melts away. Its mistress is stripped and carried away. Her handmaids moan. They sound like doves as they beat their breasts. Nineveh is like a pool whose water ebbs away. Stop, stop. But none of it goes back. Plunder the silver, plunder the gold. There is no end to the treasure, weighed down with precious things. She is void, vacant. She is made bare. Hearts are melting, knees are knocking. Every stomach is churning, every face is drained of colour. What has become of the lion's den, the cave where the young lions feed, where lion and lioness walked with their cubs, and no one made them afraid? The lion would tear up food for his cubs and strangle prey for his lionesses. He used to fill his caves with prey, his lairs with torn flesh. I am against you, says Adonai Yasavat. The chariots I will send up in smoke. The sword will consume your lion cubs. I will destroy your prey from the earth, and your envoys' voices will be heard no more. Woe to the city of blood, steeped in lies. I just think of the Vatican and Washington, D.C. and the 1 mile square of London. Woe to the city of blood steeped in lies, full of prey, with no end to the plunder. The crack of the whip, the rattle of wheels, galloping horses, jostling chariots, cavalry charging, swords flashing, spears glittering, the host of slain, heaps of bodies. There is no end to the corpses. They stumble over their corpses because of the continual whoring of this whore, this alluring mistress of sorcery, who sells nations with her whoring and families with her sorcery. Isn't that so true with what's happened in the last 2 years? He sells nations with her whoring and families with her sorcery. I am against you, says Adonai Tessivot. I will uncover your skirts on your face, and I will show the nations your private parts, and the kingdoms your shame. I will pelt you with disgusting filth, disgrace you, and make you a spectacle of you. Then all who see you will recoil from you. They will say, Nineveh is destroyed. Who will mourn for her? Where can I find people to comfort you? Are you any better than NAHUM, located among the streams of the Nile, with water all around her, the flood, her walls of defense? Ethiopia and Egypt gave her boundless strength. Put and Leuven were there to help you. Still, she went captive into exile. her infants torn to pieces at every street corner. Lots were drawn for her nobles, and all her great men were bound in chains. You too, Nineveh, will be drunk, your senses completely overcome. You too will seek a refuge from the enemy. All your fornications will be like fig trees with early ripening figs. The moment they are shaken, they fall into the mouth of the eater. Look at your troops. They behave like women. Your country's gates are wide open to your foes. Oh, America, what's happening there? And New Zealand, they're bringing them in as well. Fire has consumed their bars. Draw water for the siege. Strengthen your fornications. Go down in the clay, tread the mortar. Take hold of the mold for bricks. There the fire will burn you up, and the sword will cut you down. It will destroy you like grasshoppers. Make yourselves as many as grasshoppers. Make yourselves as many as locusts. You had more merchants than stars in the sky. Isn't that true? The locust sheds its skin and flies away. Your guards are like grasshoppers, your marshals like swarms of locusts, which settle on the walls on a cold day. And when the sun rises, they fly away, they vanish. To no one knows where. Your shepherds are slumbering, King of Asia. Your leaders are asleep. I just think of Biden. Your people are scattered all over the mountains with no one to round them up. Your wound cannot be healed. Your injury is fatal. Everyone hearing the news about you claps his hands in joy over you. For who has not been overwhelmed by your relentless cruelty? Cruelty. That's the end of the reading. And that's one of the minor prophets. So, you know, we're coming into the time of Purim soon. And where the next blood moon comes, and then solar eclipse, which is over America, to complete this letter A. So the time of Purim, oh, it's just amazing. Time of Purim is a story of Esther, which is also, you can read it in any Bible, in the book of Esther, where Esther was an Israelite girl, and she was living in, I think it's Shechem, actually. It's a town, I think, which is in modern day Iraq now. I have to have a look on the map. But it came out of the Babylonian captivity. And her uncle brought her up, who was called Mordecai, real prayerful man, humble man. And she was very beautiful. And the king's wife was very obnoxious, I suppose. And so he got rid of her, and he asked for all the young girls to be lined up, and he'll choose one. And she came in with everybody, and he chose her. But she was an Israelite. And, you know, he loved her very much. And what actually transpired is a guy called Haman, who was high up in his council, convinced the king to annihilate all the remaining Israelites there. And because by that time, a lot of them had gone back to the land of Israel or gone on through into Europe. And for whatever reason, the king agreed. And of course, Esther really prayed about this, and she got all the people together. And a long story cut short, Mordecai, they all prayed, and she ended up going into the king, which could have costed her life, but to plead with him to please do not do this, because I'm an Israelite too. And this occurred, she fasted for 3 days and 3 nights. No, for 1 week, 7 days, I think it was. And went in. Oh, you'll have to look it up. Mine be 40 days. You guys that are Bible scholars will know. Anyway, she prepared herself, and then when she went in there and she pleaded with the king, he couldn't believe it. That how could he have not known this? And so, long story cut short, she appealed to the king, and he agreed. So that had been building the gallows to hang all the Israelites on became the very gallows that he was hung on. So it's a story of those that plot evil against others. They will get what they plot against other people. So he ended up being hung and all his minions, and that's the story of Esther and his whole family, actually, of Haman. So, and you know what? This book that I've read is Nahum, Nahum. And I've been doing a lot of word puzzles at the moment where I make words out of words. And it's just occurred to me, if I juggle those letters around, it will be Haman, Hamun. Oh, it's backwards. But isn't that fascinating? I've just occurred to that right now. So Adonai is a jealous and vengeful God. But he's also good and a stronghold in time of trouble. And he takes care of those who take refuge in him. But with an overwhelming flood, he will make an end of Nineveh's place, and darkness will pursue his enemies. So he's patient, the Father, but there comes a time where enough is enough. And if you look at that study that I did on the Ancient Book Club of the seed of Cain, Cain was given 7 generations, and then they were given 490 generations, which is 4,900, equals about, say, 6,000, come up with the 6,000 generations. You want to have a listen to it, where the seed of Cain will be once and for all removed. So we are in very interesting days. And I think it's really important that we all are mindful that we are just, we're here for this time, and we need to choose which side that we're on. And I think we need to just be mindful that, it's really important that we walk righteously to have his favor, because he removes the wicked and he holds the righteous. So the Lord will deal with this. He will deal with the cabal. He will deal with the corporations that have sent us all into slavery, just like he did with Moses taking them out of Egypt. He will do the same. So praise be his name. I just wanted to share that with you today, because I thought it's another piece to the puzzle. So, blessed be his name.